In our never-ending search for eternal truth, we enter the Buzzsaw.
Central Intelligence Agency.
It was described by witnesses as...
Many of you will know of Santos Bonacci. His reputation precedes him, basically. He's a syncretist and founder, creator of the Universal Truth School, which can be found online. And he's known for giving lectures on astrotheology and many similar concepts. He's joining us today to speak about where we are at this current phase of galactic cycles. Santos, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Absolutely, man. It's good to have you. I want to start, I guess, with this question that I think a lot of people have, and that's about ISIS, the modern terror group that's adopted the name of the ancient Egyptian goddess. And who better to ask than someone who studies syncretism than you to perhaps analyze what the meaning of that name is in this context?
Yeah, well, Israeli secret intelligence service would probably be a good place to start. Everything goes back to these gangs, corporate gangs. The Vatican's a gang, the Jesuits are a gang, the Jewish mafia, Khazarian/Hyksos gang. There's lots of mafias, there's a lot of gangs, and mostly top-heavy with pedophiles. They are warmongering. They love war so that we can always have fear, and so that we always live in fear and anxiety and the dread of what may come upon us. These gangs are basically infested by demons, and not in the traditional sense of demon, but in the sense of egregore. These gangs, they create egregores. That's why gangs are formed, you see, and it's why the scriptures warn us against going with the crowd. Better to walk alone than with a crowd that's going the wrong way. And these groups, they join unevolved, weak-minded individuals that are prepared to kill for money, and they do the will of the gangs who are infested by demons. And what's a demon? Well, a demon is a service to self entity that is detached from the Creator. Simple.
Yeah.
Whereas you and I are service to others and service to Creator. We do not give glory to ourselves. All glory goes to the Creator. Mm-hmm. In my work, in my syncretism and astrotheology and astrology and all that I do, all glory goes to the Creator. Mm-hmm. None of us, I know nothing. I'm just stupid, an idiot. Without the spirit of the Creator upon me, I cannot achieve anything. And we know this. We who serve, we know this, and so we connect ourselves to the goodness of the Creator, the beauty, the wisdom, the spirit which gives us all knowing. These entities who are service to self, they're psychopaths. They hate what is good. The moment anything good germinates on this plane that we live on, they are there to pounce upon it and to destroy it and to manipulate it and to put their pseudoscience in and mix it in with their... You see, this is what ISIS is all about. They want good people to think, oh, okay, ISIS, that's an Egyptian goddess. Not thinking that it's the same as their Mary, the Virgin of Heavens, or their Lakshmi or Radharani in the East, or Astarte or Diana or Artemis, and all of these great goddesses who we once used to acknowledge. Not that we were worshippers of anything other than the one Creator. They were always in the past. Before this 500-year Copernican monstrosity of the globe and the Newtonian gravity, the Santa gravity concept that has infested us, which is demon worship. Before that, we were all united. We were all united in one Creator, one source. Then came along this aberration of demon worship where everyone is confused about the Creator, and most have been indoctrinated and educated to the point where they think this is all one monstrous mechanical evolutionary mistake that we are living in.
Right.
And so it gets worse and worse, the more layers of deception they put on there. So obviously what they're trying to do is use good names, use good astrotheology, and use the good name of our beautiful goddess Radharani, Isis, to confuse us.
Well, we've seen this before, by the way, the idea of the ritual sacrifice of the goddess. We saw it with the sacrifice of Diana, right? Diana, the Princess of Wales, and that was almost 20 years ago now. Now we're seeing it with the attack on Isis, even though this Isis has nothing to do with the goddess. The point being that we have vilified Isis. So even mythologically, even metaphorically, perhaps spiritually, there is some resonance to this notion that we have to sacrifice the goddess, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever they do, these demons, they know that there's no repentance in their essence, whatever their essence is. I didn't want to use the word soul there because the soul has been detached. They've detached themselves from the spirit soul that they once were. This is what's called fallen. And what that means is you and I, we have two souls. All of us who love the good / God, same word, we have two souls. One is called the Paramatma and one is called the Jiva Atma. The Jiva Atma is your individual soul, and it is 1/100th of a hair, the breadth of a hair, 1/100th, divided again by another 100th. And that is the size of your soul, your Jiva soul. Jiva means entity, living entity. And you have a Jiva Atma. Atma is an anagram for atom. Atom is the same word as Adam. So you are an atom, and a child of Adam. And Adam is the ecliptic, the sine wave. And we are all produced by waves, thought waves. And those waves are called atoms or atoms. And so, but then we have the Paramatma, which is the super soul, which is 4 inches long. It's a Vishnu or a Jesus. Jesus is Vishnu, and Jesus is the super soul, and both of these souls are in your heart. Now, some people can see this Jiva Atma, and they can see the Param Atma, which is about 4 inches high near your heart, and this one is what makes us different and special to these other service to self entities. They have destroyed this soul and detached themselves from this soul ages and eons ago. And they have infiltrated all the levels and branches of government and all of these gangs, the Knights of Malta, the Teutonic Knights, the Jesuits. These are controlled by demon entities, and they create further grandiose entities called egregores. And how they do that is they have rituals and ceremonies and to create these egregores. So what will happen is some powerful Roman families like the Friscobaldi, Aldobrandini, Farnese, Borgia, all of these criminal families who have the reins of power. If you want to know who's running the show on the physical plane, you have to go to demon-infested Rome and the families that have controlled Rome. And their other corporations, i.e. Paris, London and Bonn in Germany. And, of course, by extension, DC, Wall Street and the Zionists. So they are all controlled by Italian families, rest assured, and Germanic families. Because of the Holy Roman Empire, which was once Roman and German. And so, and the German families would be the Rothschilds, the Bauers, the Windsors, or the Habsburg Gothers, the Habsburgs, the Hanovers, and all of these, that the Guelphs, the black nobility, basically, black because their deeds are black. And these families, they get together in pacts, in covens. They are witches, covens of witches, den of thieves. They are Pharisees. They are offspring of vipers. They have no source connection. All they want to do is rule at all costs, no matter how, even if they suffer. For instance, chemtrails, which are toxic, and all of these horrible fluoride in the water, and all of this poison that they're putting everywhere, chemicals. This is deliberate because they are masters at destroying the souls of other beings. And they teach disgusting practices such as eating the carcasses of dead sentient beings called animals. They believe that since animals don't speak and express their disgust at being murdered and slaughtered and cut, butchered into tiny pieces and then barbecued and grilled and boiled and roasted to be devoured by unconscious human beings. This is a religion. This is a slanderous, blasphemous religion to keep us reincarnating. For they know that if the blood is impure of a jiva, such as you and I, we will have to reincarnate on this place to taste more blood. And so their goal is to teach us that it is cuisine to eat meat. Oh, you've got rabbit. Eat rabbit, and you can have a rabbit heart. Eat chicken, and you can have a yellow-livered chicken, gutless personality. Eat cows so you can be chattel for the elite. Eat sheep so you can be sheeple for the churches. Eat duck so you can be a coward. Eat swine so you can be swine-hearted. You are what you eat. And so eat goat so you can be a sacrificial goat and go to war and fight for these elite. You see, off you go, Christian soldiers, off you go to war. We shall make the uniforms as we've done before.
But now, do these families themselves, when they, let's say, do they reincarnate into the same family? Do they have a soul upon birth, or is it lost through the course of life in the course of ritual?
No, they know the rituals. This is why they love to keep their bloodlines pure, because they know how to keep incarnation in their family lines. So Queen Elizabeth, for instance, which would be a demon from probably Queen Mary, she would probably go back to Queen Mary, Bloody Mary. She's the one who used to line up Christians with her machines and butcher them, and she used to bathe in the blood of virgins. This would be Queen Elizabeth, undoubtedly. And so their families, they keep reincarnating into the same families, whereas we're lost. We don't have genealogies where we don't have rituals. We've lost our ancestor worship.
Well, now you mentioned before this notion that the Copernican age actually helped to put us into a trap, a hierarchical trap, as opposed to most people being under the impression that actually that liberated us from the confines of the Catholic Church's dogma and control structure. How would you say that this actually enslaved us with the notion of the globe and our place within a greater cosmos? How would you say that actually enslaved us?
Well, I can simplify the whole enslavement of mankind by pointing out three individuals that have caused more harm, unbeknownst to them probably, than any other individual. So Darwin and his buffoonery of the monkey man theories, which are hinging on the work of Copernicus, the ball, the globe, and Copernicus, of course, being Aristotelian, Aristotle. And those three are the most harmful individuals and harmfully influential individuals of history. Aristotle is the cause and origin of all of our materialist, empirical, speculative, philosophical, material, worldly wise buffoonery. He parted company with the great Plato, who was a spiritualist, a transcendental theologian, as was Pythagoras. these guys were Hermetists. They went to India. They studied the true science that was pure and undefiled. So when Plato became a transcendental scientist and started to go into theology, they parted company. And of course, Aristotle went and founded the Peripatetic school, and this is where all the materialist buffoonery came into the world. And from that moment, we really, really idolized the materialist philosopher, the speculative philosopher, speculating and wondering about all things and using the material, physical, known world visible to our eyes,
right,
as the center and starting point of all of our wisdom. And so Copernicus did the same thing, really, thinking that mechanical equations, and we can understand this cosmos materially and only materially because there's no spiritual cause. And so what appears to look like spheres in the heavens, we must be living on a sphere, we must be living on a ball. And so everything now is, they get their rulers out and measure everything in their laboratories and do calculations to understand God. Mm-hmm. This is an animalistic way of understanding God. The only way to understand God is service to God. There is no other way. There's no empirical philosophy that will help us to understand God. You can read all the books, read the Bible, read Bhagavad Gita. You will go nowhere unless your heart is in service mode to the Creator. And these individuals, they have no idea, no concept, and no will or passion or desire at all.
Well, you spoke earlier of the Oversoul as being a sort of a 4-inch physical thing within our heart. Now, is that something that's visible, or is it a frequency, or how would you what exactly are you referring to?
It's a luminous atma, a luminous superphysical part of the divine. This is the kindness of the Creator that He bestows us with His a minute particle of Him, and it is visible to some people, some synesthetic people who have some of their senses have merged, so their vision is merged with their hearing. You see, some people they see music rather than, or they hear it, but they also see it. Mm-hmm. And this is a divine ability that we have. You see, our senses should not be individualized as they are now in this current age. We should be able to hear with our eyes. We should be able to smell with our eyes. Each sense should have equal amounts of the other senses.
You mean should in what sense? What do you mean should? You mean based on the concept of evolution, or based on the spiritual principles involved?
On the spiritual principles, absolutely, yes. Not on any kind of material evolution. Evolution occurs spiritually. I'll explain that in a minute. The kind of evolution that is used in creation, in true creation. But we have many senses. The Egyptians say we have 360 when fully activated, when the being, the jiva entity is fully with God. And the word was God, and the word was with God. It's very important to understand this scripture, that we are God, but we are with God. In other words, we are God in quality, but not quantitatively. Qualitatively, we are one and the same. There's no difference. So you look at yourself in the mirror, you will see, as the scriptures say, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. Because we are similar to the Father. Our body looks like that Param Atma. Our form, our physical form, is one and the same with our spiritual form. Mm-hmm. When you go to the spiritual planets, when you leave, behind me is a beautiful vision of Vrindavan. This is our true home. I know it looks like a DMT trip, and it probably is eventually. You know, I don't know. Dimethyltryptamine is probably the Holy Spirit of the universe. you see? And this is the blissful place where we will go. And this is our residence forever. And so these Paramatma inside of each one of us, this is visible to ascended ones and to advanced ones amongst us. I don't have these advanced senses yet, but I do feel that they are growing every day. Every day that I do good deeds, meditation, great practices, chanting, I chant the holy names of God, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I chant the names of the consort of Krishna, Radharani, the goddess of heaven, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. This is the great chant that will bring you into service mode and will bring you into oneness with the Creator. And also, of course, the greatest of all the chants would be the Om. Aum.
Well, Om is a frequency, right? Isn't it? It's a frequency that's part of the basis of. Is it related to the Schumann frequency, or is it I can't remember which frequency it is, but it resonates with our own being, and so that's something it's a vibrational thing. But wouldn't you say that when it comes to, for example, people's different religious practices, oftentimes it maybe reflects upon where their soul originally arrives from, that we maybe have come from different different branches of the Oversoul, different pathways to the Oversoul and back? Wouldn't you say there are different journeys that everyone is on?
Yeah, more or less, but it all hinges on the fact that if you've done good works in past lives, they come with you. So people who are dopey, no idea, they haven't done any work. They simply have not done good work. They have gone looking for sense gratification. For them to feed their bellies and to have lustful liaisons is more important than service to the Creator. And so Om to them is just a silly word. But Om is the Schumann frequency. It is the frequency of the universe. All is Om. All is Om. There is not a particle in existence that does not reverberate with Om. And it's not OM, and it's not just AUM, because the Om symbol, which is on this Hindu bracelet I have here, it has 3 letters. A, which stands for Krishna. A is always God, the Supreme Being. The letter A.
Alpha.
Yes, Alpha.
Yeah.
All the letters of the alphabet are gods. They are all gods. M is a god, Mary. N is a god, nautical, native, nature, nature. C is a god, clarity, clear. F is a god, fire, phos, photon. It's all light. They're all gods. But the letter A of Aum, that's Krishna, the origin of all the letters. And so when you see, there are 2 systems for chanting Om. There's the 7 vowels, and then there's the 10 vowels. And I've taught this in my presentations. I won't go into it at length here, but you'll find this somewhere in many of my presentations. And so the letters are these: A, E, I, O, U. And when you merge those together, A, E, I, O, U, which incidentally are all in order, the correct order in our alphabet. A is always the first, E always follows A, I always follows E, O follows I, and U, the final vowel, always follows O. And these 7 are the 7 planets of the solar system. And the moon is A. The moon is the first lady. That is A, Krishna. And so, but there's also 10 vowels, which are the 10 planets. When you add Neptune, Uranus and Pluto, the 3 invisible ones, then you get 10 vowels. And you must learn how to merge those vowels like this. I'll say them slowly first and disconnected, and then I'll merge them, and then I'll do them as one. A, E, I, O, U. I, And so this becomes but it's very important to carry those vowels and the structure and center it in the center of your being. All sound must come through the very, very center of your lips. Now, I have a problem with this. I've been told this by by Prashan, a Hindu, an Indian guy from India who contacted me not long ago to help me with this problem that I have with my speech, in that I have an accent, an Australian twang. And he said, you must correct this. We all must correct this. American accents and all of these, none of these accents are going to heaven. Our language, regardless of whether it's English or German or whatever we speak, must come from the center as we speak. We must center our words, and when we center our words, our spinal column is centered, our being is centered, and we are not pulled hither and thither by demonic pseudoscience. Gravity, the stupid, idiotic concept of gravity, or the globe, where I am upside down, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and you're watching me upside down, and that up is not up and down is not up, down, and all of this relativism BS.
Well, it sounds what you were making there was what was called right speech in the old traditions, right? Right speech. There's a notion that there is a right speech to be made. It affects your physicality, and that's why in the beginning was the word. And the Kabbalistic tradition preserves that with the power of the Aleph Beth, right? As you mentioned, each letter is a god or a form of God, a name of God, so that we can achieve that which is our higher potential. So how is it that we actually liberate ourselves from these demons that have taken over the minds of our rulers?
Well, we've got to go after their teachings, and teaching number one is the three most pernicious, slimy, evil, and putrid demonic teachings are meat eating, gravity, and the globe. The globe goes back to Aristotle, the buffoon. Gravity goes back to Newton, another buffoon. And meat eating goes back to these demonic elite families who want nothing more than to keep slaves and to harvest human slaves forever on this planet, because they have no inkling and no desire, and they cannot ascend and go back to the spiritual Vrindavan or Vaikuntha or Mathura or even Brahmajyoti, Brahmananda. All of these beautiful locales are prohibited to them. So they are confined to these lower hellish planets.
For blood sacrifice. But what about, so for example, gravity? How would you describe the principle, if not by means of gravity, how would you describe this principle of our own tendencies, for example, to move towards in a downward direction, let's say, or towards the ground?
Well, density and buoyancy, the laws of density and buoyancy. You can experiment in your bathtub with light objects, how they displace the water less than heavier objects that displace more water. This density is always seeking to go down, because down is down and up is up. And this relativism, I'm spinning on a ball and up is not up and down is not down. That's for buffoons, and they've swallowed it hook, line and sinker. And so true laws. Gravity is not a true law, it's pseudoscience. And of course, there is only electricity in the universe. There's only one force. So why should we go looking for gravitons and all kinds of different natured electrons? We call some of them nitrogen and some of them we call hydrogen and blah, blah, blah. Walter Russell debunked this over and over in all of his works, showing that there is only different rates of energy and motion. Mm-hmm. And so my body has gold and zinc and hydrogen and oxygen and carbon and nitrogen in it to be composed molecularly, so that you can see my form, my spiritual form, is clothed by a material form. But this is a transient body. This is like a vessel which comes and goes, like the grass in the field. And so, these rates of motion are just energy in motion, or what we call motion in action. Whereas magnetism, back of electricity, the cause of electricity, the conscious being that is responsible for the semi-conscious force of electricity, that one is motion in suspension and all potential. That one is all knowing, all being, ever present, ever powerful. That is omnipotent. The omnipotent force of the universe is magnetism.
But even in the nature of the electromagnetic universe and the idea of the plasma physics, the toroidal action does create a donut form. Why would it not make sense for a planet to form in the shape of a sphere or a globe, or even in a donut, let's say, where the Earth is hollowed out, and as people have speculated, it's a globe with a hollow Earth? Why would that make less sense than a flat Earth?
Well, the universe is making spheres and cubes, so we do live in a sphere, or 10 spheres at least. And so, but at the center of the toroidal field, there is a plane that goes outwards. You can see this when you look at galaxies. You see a center, and then you see spiraling arms going outwards on a flat plane. And this is what we're living on. This is the physical terrestrial part of our terrestrial bodies, and it can't be a ball, because we can't be walking on that angle on the ball where gravity is, holding us at 90 degrees perpendicular to the surface of that globe. Gravity is, well, first of all, it doesn't exist, but there is no force in the universe that can do that, because the universe doesn't operate in that way. Beings that live on spheres, they do not have terrestrial physical bodies. So spheres such as Jupiter and Mars, these are not terrestrial bodies. These are luminous bodies, and not as dense as our Earth. And they have different density. Saturn's density is of the lowest density and of the highest vibration. You see, people are afraid of Saturn because of all of his supposed evil. But the planets, so-called, the 7 luminaries, sun for Sunday, Moon for Monday, Mars for Tuesday, Mercury for Wednesday, Jupiter for Thursday, Venus for Friday, and Saturn for Saturn Day, these are archons. Yes, sometimes they are evil, because they have to be. They're in the physical world. Well, it's a polarized place, and so they have evil frequencies, and these are evil purely for the purpose of the betterment of mankind. There is nothing that these archons, these cosmocrators, do that is not for our benefit.
Yeah, I think that's an important principle, and that's part of the nature of the cycles in general, right? That we have to go through. That's part of the frequency. You have to go through up and down in the nature of traveling. So, just given the context of what you studied as far as cycles are concerned, and cycles of man and of the galaxy and the universe, where do you see us going at this point? What our paths indicate as to where we are at this present time, let's say?
Well, we're always in the forever now. And so right now there is paradise here on earth. Right now there is purgatory and there is hell. 3 conditions, always 3 conditions. And it's our choice where we want to live. If you want to live in paradise, that's your choice. And if someone that does not live in paradise comes and takes you away and puts you in jail or persecutes you or kills you, your body, your vessel, whatever they want to do to you, that's their choice, but your choice is to remain in paradise. So, but compositely, as a human community, we can all shift from purgatory and hell which are the two predominant conditions on this earth right now due to demon infestation, we can all shift over to paradise. We can make that shift tomorrow if we have enough critical mass and if we have enough awakened souls. So my work is there to increase the critical mass and to awaken as many souls as possible. So rather than me being a good little hermit and looking after me, which I could do and would love to do, I have made a conscious decision to be involved with the public, to do shows and things like this, to spread the ancient knowledge, because I know the ancient knowledge. And so I know how the ancient cosmology will help us to break free from the demonic most recent cosmology of 470 years, the Copernican aberration. I'm here to bring people back to the geocentric ancient cosmologies, and that has been around for billions of years. We've only had this ball buffoonery, this Santa gravity ball, for a few hundred years, and the coven of witches that controls that teaching is the Rothschilds and the Vatican.
Right. Well, Santos, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us today. People can find your teachings more on universaltruthschool.com, correct?
Yep.
And anywhere else they should go looking? Obviously, you've done a lot of videos, I know.
Yeah, they should go to my free video presentations on MrAstrotheology, one word, MR, Mr, and then followed by Astrotheology. And there they can have an abundant resource of free videos and presentations.
Fantastic. Yeah, it definitely requires a lot, I think, some time to get into and explore more of the history. But thanks for coming on and at least giving us a little bit of a taste and some perspective. And I look forward to hearing more from you in future.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you, Santos. Well, there you have it, folks. Some insights from Santos Bonacci, who's steeped more in the ancient traditions, including Hinduism, but certainly an educated man who's worth listening to and reflecting upon his insights. As I've mentioned, go to universaltruthschool.com and certainly investigate his videos and lectures and learn more. This is Sean Stone signing off.